Welcome back. Here we go again. So, I finally got finished with what I was doing. And those are noises that I can't do anything about, so you have to wait a minute for that to turn off. I got a new microphone. So there's 3 Snoot things that I'll try to catch up on. This a Naomi mod that's called Gay Sex with a Priest. I don't know. And Mojob. Okay. Saying it out loud, you know. Alright, I'll take your word for it. I'll see you at class if I can, Ed. And please get yourself on track. And there he goes. Honestly, I feel kind of bad for him. I didn't mean to give him a rough time with this. Why did he have to put up with my stupid shit? I check my schedule again to see my next classes and their time slots. Fuck. Did they really sign me up for 6 fucking classes? Shh! Sorry. Screw this, the schedule can wait. Right now I need to get my ass to Johnson's class and hope for the best. And here we continue. There's a deathly calm in the air. The tension was so thick, yet caveman. Yeah, okay. That was his name in Portal, right? I forgot. Okay, so I kind of look at the pictures a little bit to make sure kind of how much actually gets added. And I saw something. So I think I get it now. The tension was so thick, it's like you could cut it with a knife. I look around and I see all the students are attentive and focused, and it's honestly disturbing. I can see Nazers also there too, all the way in the front row. What a brave soul. And then suddenly, whoosh, I don't want your damn lemons. I'll squeeze them back in your eye, you son of a bitch. Throw them at you. Get them the hell out of here. The door kicks open and in comes this massive-looking, well-dressed businessman, sort of Neanderthal bastard with the hardest stare I could ever imagine. Yeah. He just walks right in with his pack over his shoulder and it drops right on his desk without so much of a word. Then he turns to the class. The hard stare turned into this big, charismatic, shit-eating smile. Good morning, students, and welcome to another fine, fair Monday in the University of California. Morning, Mr. Johnson. You remember to use the Mr. instead of Professor this time. Good, that's good. Professor makes me feel too old. I mean, I am old, but I'm not that old. Though with age comes wisdom, and I suppose I shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. And who shouldn't take pride in their old age anyways? I guess that's kind of what he sounded like. I did replay it maybe a year or two ago. That was the first PS3 game I've ever played. It blew me away. You know, that first time I ever really experienced anything like that. What? What's this total mood whiplash? This was the terrifying caveman people warned me about? My youth might not have been as vibrant or saturated with vigor and valor as you kids, or rather adults I should say, but I was immersed in the ways of science as I am now. That has kept me going throughout my years as a biochemical professor. Not everybody can be like me, that much I know, but people aspire to be like me. Whether you're a Neanderthal, a human, or whatever theropod or sauropod some of you dino folks are, you all have aspirations. But there will never be another Caveman Johnson. Remember that. You can only be you. Like you, Saul. There'll never be another Saul. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And Caroline, oh sweet Caroline, your smarts are as good as the coffee you brew every morning. Which, by the way, go way more into hazelnut cream next time. None of that French vanilla shit. Of course, Mr. Johnson. Now I know this may sound weird, but I am lactose intolerant of a certain brand of creamers. French vanilla being the most egregious offender. Oh boy, do I have a story about that. Let's just say my immune response is more whacked than the sacking of Constantinople during the Fourth Crusade. So, the story goes like this. One day, I was at a gas station at Volcadero Bluffs, and I'm imagining him doing that pose. And it's kind of glorious. Lemons could be here, I thought. He starts sniffing in the air. What? Never mind. Wait. I smell someone new here. Ugh, he sniffs again. His head snaps in my direction. I can feel the cold, hard stare peering into my soul. Ed! Grun! Snow! Oh, fuck. I was sick this exact same way when I first recorded the first part of this a few months ago. And now here I am again, the same way, having to blow out my nose. Like, you remember that kid in Wind Waker, in the starting village, that just has snot coming out of his nose? Like, that's the amount that's coming out of my nose when I go blow it. Oh, fuck! Yeah, this is it, isn't it? I'm gonna be pretty much shit-canned. Unlike how the other students were behaving in Mrs. Roberts, not a single person in this room is looking at me, nor laughing, or making any jokes. They just stuck their heads down as though they were preparing for a nuclear holocaust. It has been a week and a half. Do you know how many days you've missed? 4 days. 4 unexcused absences. His voice roars, the room quaking like a mighty meteor had crashed through the ocean and sent a tidal wave across the west coast. The wrath of the caveman begins now. I watch a massive hand reach over and grab me by the back of my shirt, lifting me off the ground. Well, time to roll up a new character sheet. I'll put all my points in the strength next time. Where were you, Ed? You missed a week's worth of class and work. All I can think of at that moment is static. Meow. But before I could say anything, he drops me back in my seat. He takes a deep breath in, clasps his hands together, and sighs. I swear, for a moment, I thought I could hear him counting up from 1 to whatever. Actually, don't answer that. I'm not here to hear your excuses. I'm here to teach you shit. An able mind, that is, ready and willing to learn, is a capable mind, ready and willing to put work into practice. You know what you're doing. Coming here late the way you are, you're hurting your chances to be something more. You are missing your chance to become Ed Grunt Snow, genius doctor. Am I really being lectured right now? You mean I'm not going to die a horrible, painful, gruesome death? What god did I please to have this moment of mercy? Don't take it from me. Take it from the many, many, many students who took this class before you. If they were here right now, that is, they can tell you. Caveman Johnson strives for perfection amongst all things. If not, you're fired. Find some other fool to take your half-assed theorems to people who'll steal it and use it for their own means. I mean, I'll take your theorems and apply them myself, but at least I make them 10 times better and still give credit where credit is due. But who's really benefiting from the hard work here? You? No, you! If you think you can just come in here and not expect to know shit about shit, then you're not benefiting at all. In fact, I doubt you'll make it through the first half of the semester. You should just restart the whole semester and come back when you're properly prepared to tackle the responsibilities this university expects you to take up. Now then, if you feel as though you've got what it takes to catch up and keep up with the current work, go right ahead. I'm rooting for you. But I'm not going to throw you a bone like Mrs. Robertson probably did. In this world, it's either science or be scienced. And science is something that I fucking love. It's not even a term at all, but I'm not gonna correct them. Stand up on your own 2 feet. Reach for the stars. It'll save me the effort of throwing you there myself. Alright, now into the actual lesson. Not sure exactly how to take all this. And I hope to God my microphone's not being blown out. If so, guess I'll go fuck myself. If I wasn't overwhelmed with the expectations before, I sure am fuck feeling it all now. Have you ever had those moments where you just wanted to crawl into a hole and hide in there? That's how I feel. It's a sad world I live in. The pressure I feel building up in my head is hardly describable. The closest I can summarize it is when I made my first Flash game and did not know what the fuck programming was. It was about George Bush. We called him W back in those days. Newgrounds. It was something else. The last few classes were just as awkward to sit through, but fortunately I was able to power right through them. God, I could go for some Battlestone theater right now. God, I'll never forget Battle Block Theater. Watching Nova and it was either Dan or Spoon that played with them. Those were the days. Now we're here. In the future. I could go for some Battlestone Theater right about now. That game always takes the edge off me. But then again, I should get myself a dorm. Hey, is that CJ? Hey, if it isn't my favorite skinny. Sup, my trigger? Shit. Oh, the usual spear chucker. Studying angles and angular relationships of planar and three-dimensional figures. The greatest weapon of my people, the fearful art of trigonometry. No. This game's making me red. that was actually pretty funny. If only I had the energy and joy to laugh. I couldn't even force a smile at that joke, as good as it was. CJ's quick to notice it. Not like I'm hiding it anyways. Damn, man, you look like shit. I feel like shit, Carl. What's wrong, man? The caveman got you down? Well, there's no sense in bottling up these pent-up emotions. So, I tell him about what Caveman Johnson said to me. Well, sounded like you caught him in a good mood. That was his good mood? Ed, my man, that could have gotten so much worse for you. You'd be in the nurse's office. But hey, you pulled through. Yeah, but now I'm starting to think maybe starting over again next semester is a good idea. Fuck, Carl. I don't know if I can take this kind of pressure. Fuck, you kidding me? I've seen a good deal of students pick themselves right back up, and they were worse off than you were. Not that I mean to make light of your situation, just trying to motivate you. Listen, things may be bad now, but I can promise you this. The harder you push, the easier it gets. Some folks got from senior year telling me their experiences. Folks who didn't exactly have an interest in this field, but took it because some things did help them in fields that they did want to learn. Even if your one interest is in animation. Yeah, man, especially if you're doing something like minoring or majoring in some of the business courses here. They actually have programs for graphic designers. Look at it this way. It'll be a good skill to have. And any medical shit like anatomy, you can just apply it to your art. Sure. No, he does have a point. There is this one friend I have on Stone Grounds who taught me a lot about basic anatomy. I might not get much use out of the rest of these classes here, but if I do pick up animation again... wait. I might not get much use out of the rest of the classes here if I ever do pick up animation again, but if I just stuck it out, I could learn stuff that would be useful for me. I could just cheese through these 4 years and never look back on it again. Maybe find myself a studio that'll take me in. Yo, you alright there, man? What? You were spacing out something fierce. Fuck, was I? Sorry. Yeah, that got your brain turning, didn't it? Yeah, it's definitely an interesting prospect. I might have to sleep on it, actually. I could use a good day's rest after what I've been through. Shit, wait. I still haven't gotten a dorm yet. I can take you to the dorm registry, then. They have a roster where they keep a record of students they've assigned rooms to. Cool, where's the dorms? They're on the west side of the campus. I can take you there now and show you the rest of the university. I got nothing on my schedule today. Well, thanks, man. Fuck's sake. You know, I have to admit, Since coming here, I thought I was going to have a terrible time adjusting to this university life. Fortunately, I got to meet someone like Carl. Maybe this university life might not be so bad after all. Alright, Mr. Snow, your dorm room is going to be number 076. You're going to be sharing your room with Mr. Jackson. CJ looks at me with a surprised expression at first, then turns to elation. Oh yeah, we're roomies, baby. Talk about luck. I honestly wasn't sure if there was any available rooms. To be frank, we did have to move you around a few times. We had a bit of an issue with our registry system. We actually assigned your old dorm to someone else. Well, best not to look a gift horse in the mouth then. Lead the way, see? The two beds parallel to one another. One desk, 2 drawers, and a closet. It may look slightly cramped, but hey, I'm a sucker for closed, confined spaces. And here we are. Casa de Jackson. Occupation now 2. It might not be much, but hey, look at it this way. You got a nice comfortable bed to sleep on. Are these beds really that comfortable? No. But they're better than sleeping on the ground. I don't know, man. I slept on the ground before in there, and it's pretty comfortable. Shit, man, really? What got you sleeping on the ground? Well, one day I found myself lacking creative spirit. Then I remembered these tabs of acid that my friend got for me one day. Spent 24 consecutive hours doing absolutely nothing but animation and art. Woke up in nothing but my underwear, a USB stick poking out containing a flash file that read The Big One. I never actually had the chance to actually see what was inside of it, and it's been 4 years now, and Flash has been defunct. CJ frowns. You, don't meddle too much in that stuff, do you? Once in a while, I'm not a regular user. Just as long as you don't overdo it. I can't exactly dictate what you should or shouldn't do as an adult. Just be careful with that stuff. Jeez, when did he become my dad? I mean, I don't. Not like I can overdo it, even if I wanted to. But I don't plan on it. I just stick with weed, and that's about it. You fucking degenerate. I may dabble still, but I'm not gonna chemically lobotomize myself. CJ's expression relaxes. Alright, man. Didn't mean to come off as judgmental there or anything like that. Dealt with a lot of bad shit with that growing up in the hood where I'm from. Let's see where this is going. I get you. I can see why that would make anyone straight edge. Hope I didn't make you worry, though. Nah, you're cool, man. You're cool. Just keep clear of the hard shit. Duly noted. If you want, we can talk about it. I'd appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'd be down to talk about it. Not now, though. Because it'd take a novel to tell. And I got to hit the hay for my next class. I gotta get up pretty early in the morning. How early we talking? 7:30. You poor bastard. That's the life of a college kid, isn't it? To be frank, I always get up at that time just to get ready for school. I don't know how I could stand that. I mean, I did have to go to bed earlier than 12 o'clock back then, so it made it a little easier, I guess. Jesus Christ. I think I had to get up at like 6 or something for the bus. But during the summer, on the days I don't need to, I do it anyways. Call it a habit now, though I always spend an entire day working on my projects. Damn, man. How many times are you gonna space out on me? What? I can see why you're having such a hard time adjusting to college. You always been like this? Yeah. No, not really. It's a tad complicated. Well, you take it easy, okay? Last thing I want is you spacing out on the caveman's class and actually ending up in space. Sure thing. Oh, and one thing you should know? If you hear any noises coming from the next room over, ignore them. As unrealistic as those TV shows about doctors are when it comes to, well, physical intimacy, it isn't too unrealistic to expect that in a medical school. Are you for real? Okay. Dead serious. I got earmuffs for you if you feel as though you can't handle it. Thank you, dude. And now I turn to my bed and drift off to the land of Nod. At least I try anyways. I'm still anxious about how the next day will go. The next few days. I'm definitely not a morning person. Every part of my body is just screaming to go back to bed. Just gotta ignore it. Have to push through it. Knowing my schedule, I can't afford to jack off. Well, look though, as I'm looking over my schedule again, I actually feel at ease, knowing I only have one class less today, because the teacher after the caveman called in sick. However, I'm certainly not going to waste time today. It'd be a good idea to get what I needed left for myself and my classes for the semester and punch through with that tutoring thing. Plus, I actually have to start the process of actually getting the class at a reasonable time. As much as I didn't want to overload myself, I thought setting the tutoring to the afternoon would be a good idea. Just in case, I made sure to look over my schedule again as I make my way to my first class of the day. After coming to terms with my new reality, I focus on actually jazzing myself up, so I start reading my goddamn schedule paper. And there it is, the dread's back. That didn't last long. Come on, Ed, try to focus on the good news. Tuesdays and Thursdays are relatively free. Just a couple classes on those days. And to top it off, no classes during the weekends is nice. But fuck, look at the other days. That's 6.5 straight fucking hours of just classes. I let out a defeated sigh and pocket my schedule. Without missing a beat, I make my way to... The last thing I want is for that Professor Mercury to chew me out. I just gotta get through the day, and then to the tutoring center. As I get there, I find there are more seats open than I expected. I mean, you'd think, considering class is almost starting, that there'd be less free seats. But I'm not going to complain, so I take the first seat, and I could see before the professor arrives. As I settle down, expecting the same warm welcome I was getting yesterday, I'm greeted with nothing. Hell, I'm looking around the room, and the professor isn't even here. Just as I'm about to ask someone about it, I get my answer. A lanky human walks in like the building's on fire, and takes his place behind the podium. Alex. Sorry about that, class. Was held up thanks to some thought experiments. A wise man once said, there's always a metaphor for everything. Therefore, I decided it was best not to have Dean Fulps rant to me about the semantics of creative evolution. What a bunch of nerds. There is no turning from that red light. What? This reminds me of a topic that was brought up to me in my evolutionary psychology class. Rather than creativity, this one's more of the development of culture. The fuck is going on? How did we get here? It is said that men are shaped and molded in the flesh by the gods that created them in their own image. But what of the crows and sheep and dinosaurs? What of the octopi? 65 million years ago, we'd be looking at a very different history for every species on this earth. A domino effect, if you will. A chain reaction that resulted in potentially the very extinction of all the theropod and sauropod species. And we find out we're not so different from one another in the grand scheme of life. We're just very lucky. But luck isn't going to get you everywhere in life. You need skill, patience, discipline, and determination. Never trade skill for luck. Luck's not a learned trait. But it gets me so many critical hits. It's incredible. That's what separates us from non-sapient animals. I expect the best from all of you. I won't be on top of you for every little thing you say or do, but in return, I expect results. He looks at me, expecting another call-out. I brace myself. But instead, he just nods and continues speaking, like he had dropped a gallon of acid. They say there's no second chances in life, but having a meteor pass by us 65 million years ago tells you that that argument is bullshit. You get 2 chances to make something of yourselves. Now do it and evolve. Now, on to today's lesson. I just stare in amazement. How could anyone sit in this classroom and expect to understand a single thing this guy said? I know schizos whose heads were more screwed on than this guy's. As much as the whole day lagged on, Professor Mercury's insane Alex Mercury. That doesn't sound familiar. Professor Mercury's insane ramblings somewhat struck a chord in me. As I'm thinking about what he said about second chances more, the realization dawns on me. I'm having a second chance to get through this shit. What's actually pulling me back? Well, whatever. I'm here now, so I might as well pull that second chance to good use. If only it wasn't so fucking packed. What the hell? Why are there so many people here? I thought it was just going to be me and Nazer at this time. Slot to play catch-up. This was like our only meet-up time to do this. I see the pterodactyl working with some brontosaurus. He picks up his head for a moment and spots me, then waves. Hey Ed, is that you? Take a seat. I'll be with you in a bit. Alright, okay. What a good first impression you're making, Mr. Tutor. After a while, Nazer finally gets around to me. Oh, thank Raptor Jesus. Didn't keep you waiting too long, did I? Only a little bit, but it's alright. Well, let's get to it, shall we? What are your classes like? Internally screaming. Professor Mercury's and Mrs. Roberts' class were the only classes I was able to handle. Anything that you needed to cover over? Just the caveman stuff for now, because I feel he might turn me into pavement lotion any day now. What now? Pavement lotion? It's a legends and lore thing. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Specifically, it's a reference from one of the livestream games, Adventure Mode. What? I'm less clear than I was before. Oh, that tabletop thing. Yeah, I guess so. My sister's friend is into that game. Yeah, so if you don't mind. Yeah, that's great. Can we please get started? Yeah, let's get started. And with the first page opens, we go to our very first chapter of biochemistry. The very basics first of all. Nazer goes over a long-winded process of the first chapter, then the second, for the past hour and a half. The pressure building in my head needed release. I'm struggling to keep up and have to ask Nazer several questions about the same goddamn topic, again and again. Okay, so, he looks at me, genuinely concerned. He must be thinking, wow, how did I get caught up with this dumb ape? I just hide my face in my hands and groan. Alright, Ed, let's just review what we've covered over in a bit of Chapter 2. This is as basic as it's ever going to get. What chemical is responsible for the red color of blood? Fuck, Nazer, I don't know. Something about iron? At least he's not going to be a doctor. He lights up again. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Simple, but perfect. The chemical iron is what gives red blood cells their red color. Hopefully no one takes it out of you. That fight was fucked up, man. That series can get creative, let me tell you. Alright, now, the RNA is made up of nucleotides, which those ribose sugars attach to. Oh great, give me more than one question I get right, and you throw another at me that I don't get. I feel like this is a familiar thought. Isn't this from Chapter 1? Proteins? No. That's what you get as a result of the RNA's functions. The answer is I don't understand these letters being put together in these ways. Nitrogen bases and phosphate groups. These are subjects covered in refresher courses. That you missed. He doesn't even hide the frustration in his tone this time. Ed, what's even going on right now? This is basic shit. It's like we didn't progress at all yesterday. How is it that you're this bad at this? It's not like you're even interested in the subject. I'm not. Then why give me a hard time? Oh, I don't mean to. Fuck, I didn't mean to almost blurt that out. Okay, suck it up, Ed. Just give it to him straight. It's the least you can do for having to put him through hell. Hell, it's not like I even had a choice coming here. My parents threatened to cut me off financially and everything if I ever tried to go into anything that had nothing to do with medical school. That's how I got shafted with this bullshit, and you shouldn't have to put up with me. His expression softens a bit. He gestures for me to continue as he sits back in his chair. So I was given two options. Live with my grandpa or go to this shit university and follow the family tradition. My mom was a doctor, dad was a doctor, and God help me if I wasn't a doctor too. And this is just adding on to the student debt that will probably never pay off. And the last thing I want to do is burden my grandpa with my bullshit. We sit for what feels like an eternity there. I'm worried that I might have killed the mood, until Nazer lets out a deep sigh. So that's how it is, huh? Now I get it. I've been in your shoes, Ed. Technically, I guess I still am in those kinds of shoes, though I don't deal with my family as much as I used to anymore. Had some high expectations from my parents, especially from my father. Trust me, it can be soul-crushing. I know it might not seem like much in the coming future, but you're gonna get through this, Ed. We just have to find a better way to get you to easily retain this without losing interest. Thanks, but that still doesn't change the fact I hate it. But if I could just bullshit my way, maybe. I got it. Okay. How about this? Every 30 minutes we take a break. We can just chat and get to know each other for a few minutes. Then we move to a different subject. That way you shouldn't get burnt out so quickly. I consider it for a moment before agreeing. At this moment, I'm willing to try anything if it means making this whole process less painful. Sure, let's try that. Great. Now let's start with going over some of the refresher courses again. Just stop me when there's something you don't get, okay? Alright, lay it on me. Over the next half an hour, we go through the material from the beginning. Instead of dwelling on specific information, we start by how the broader topics connect, and go into more detail from there, moving from topic to topic regularly. Eventually, it almost starts to feel like a conversation, with me participating more and more as the pieces start to come together in my head. The way he explains it to me felt like the time I worked on my first programming language for a buddy's Flash project. Then the ribosomes take mRNA, and use amino acids that pair with the sequences to make proteins, right? Yeah, you got it, man. And to think you barely knew what RNA even was yesterday. You're a good teacher. He scoffs. Sure, it's totally not just you having gone over this stuff in high school already. Anyway, how about we take a break now? Fine by me. So how was high school? Hello, awkward silence, my old friend. You've come to dawn on me again. Man, that's the face of could have picked a better topic I ever did see. Shit, sorry. If you don't want to talk about it, you don't need to. Nah, it's okay. Just caught me off guard. Well, let's see. I was quite popular back then. Started out in track and field back in freshman year. Catching that much attention wasn't exactly what I was used to either. But it was an experience. I did get to make some friends, so, that's always a plus. I also had my sister to look out for. And trust me, it wasn't always easy. Well, aside from that, you make it sound like you had fun. Got any girls you liked? Well, there was one, but the relationship felt superficial. We broke up some time ago, though. It's complicated. And parts of it had to do with my sister. What happened? Did they fight a lot? I wouldn't go that far. She just had these unrealistic expectations of what relationships were like. Some of that might be partially my fault. Not that I know anything about relationships, but I do not think unrealistic expectations are any his fault. Then again, I played low-scaled corridors. Don't know what that means. Well, better to have loved and lost than to never have lost at all. Sure. Let's talk about you now, huh? What was that? You looked conflicted when I said that. I went to Stonehenge High. One of those standard rich kid kind of schools. Way upstate. After middle school, my parents were adamant in wanting me to go there. And I mean the other options were places like Rock Bottom. Honestly, does a school called Rock Bottom inspire any confidence? I think not. Nope, not with how Spamhead described it. Dirty, in high crime area, bunch of pushovers, and people posting naked photos of you over the bathroom walls. What? more like projecting his cringe collection of anime waifus. Mr. Spamhead, I kneel. Nobody's that based. So yeah, it was the only decision they made for me that I couldn't deny was a great experience. Made some IRL friends, and some of the electives were pretty fun. IRL. You grew up in the 2000s and 2010s, man. How could you not know? You have a phone, damn it. You probably text to people more than you actually speak to them in real life. In real life? Who could he not know? Most of the friends I've made were online. Half of the population here are into things I'm not, and my standings align more on the centric side. So you're a fence sitter. I'm gonna ratio you, motherfucker. Got it. You jerk. I don't blame you though. Recently, I've been kind of on the same way, but online, huh? Yeah, most of the friends I've made were on stone grounds. Before he even asked, I explain. It's a website for hosting art, music, animation, games. It was really popular when I was growing up, so I got into it young. You know, that sounds like a pretty neat place. I wonder why I never heard of it before. And you animate, right? What kind of stuff did you make? Well, it involved a lot of slurs. What kind of stuff did you make? The edgiest shit you can find. But that was back in my middle school days. My craft became a little more refined. It's still basically the same thing, though. You wouldn't like my old stuff. I don't even like it. But I did make a fun little piece about an Amazonian Trisanatorius Warrius kicking ass to save her skinny human lover. Sounds base. I'd like to see something like that someday. Anyways, break's over. Let's go back to the next section. Then comes another 30 minutes of work. Only this time I didn't want to bash my head against the table. So, genetic variations that alter the gene activity or protein function can introduce different changes. If the traits are advantageous and help the individual survive and reproduce, it will likely be passed on to the next generation. This process is called natural selection, since it is adapting positive traits and that have diverged from the parent in order to propagate. Here we go, you're getting the hang of it. It sure helps considering this isn't my thing. Well, look at it this way. You'll not lose your head going through this. Alright, fair. Break time. Got any family? You know, aside from your parents. Well, there's my grandpa. He's a World War II vet. This jacket was a gift he gave to me before I left for college. That's quite a gift. He must have been quite the character. That's an understatement. He's the greatest. He'd always tell me war stories in awesome and also terrifying detail. He lets out a sheepish chuckle at that. Sounds cool. Anyone else? Well, there's my cousin Rudy. He's a bit on the hyper side, but we were pretty much inseparable back when we were kids. There's also Uncle Rule from my father's side. Love the bastard. Any siblings? Nope. So you got along better with your extended family than your actual family, huh? Yeah, that's kind of sad, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't exactly say that's a sad thing. Oh, how about you? You mentioned a sister, right? Yeah, Fang. Lucy. Whatever she calls herself. Our relationship wasn't exactly the best for a few years, but I think we're on better terms now. Then there's Mom and Dad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know they meant well, but they could get... They locked you out of your fucking house that you live in. That's not exactly a good thing. That's a bit on the get law enforcement involved kind of side of parenting. You know what I mean? Overbearing, overwhelming, very traditionally mindseted, having high expectations thrust upon you. Yeah, you said it yourself, didn't you? We're on the same boat, more or less. Anyone else? If you can count Uncle Mo as extended family, then yeah, there's him. I'd say your uncle counts, man. Nah, we just call him Uncle Mo. He's a friend of our dad's. You might have heard of him. Dynamo. Like the restaurant chain? Holy hell, your dad knows Dynamo? Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. Me, him, and my dad usually go bowling on Friday nights. Or at least we used to before I went off to college. That's so cool. Yeah, he's great. Though sometimes I get the feeling that he might be involved in a rather audible rumble broke through our conversation. I look around for the source, and it takes only a second for me to figure out that it was coming from Nazer. Your phone, I take it? Yeah, give me a moment. Nazer picks himself up and pulls out his cell phone. Hey, Tess. Yeah, I'm here. Where are you? Couldn't you just walk here? He lets out a rather loud, audible sigh. Oh, fine, I'll be there. Just stay where you are so I can come get you. Well, we were about near the end anyways. Duty calls? Something like that. Think you got everything covered here for now? I think I got it covered here. Thanks, Naze. Same time tomorrow. Same bat channel. I loved watching that shit as a kid. The commercials suck, but there's always something kind of special about TV that can't be replaced. Nazer turns to check out the library into the courtyard outside. Guess it's time for me to head out as well. To be continued. Well, I guess about an hour's worth. We're making progress with our Dino BF. We'll give him a reach around yet. Let me tell you. But next time it'll either be Naomi or a big sloppy Mo job. See you then.